What if I told you that success didn't come from achieving everything you wanted, but from being grateful for what you already had? Welcome, everyone. Here with another installment of our ongoing series exploring ancient philosophy. And today, we are going to see how the Stoics practiced gratitude and inner peace. And honestly, how we can start doing the same. The truth is, in today's hyperfast world, it's incredibly easy to get lost in the daily grind. We look at society's obsession with achievement and think, that's great. That's why I'm hustling so hard. But what if we turned our attention to gratitude instead? What if we realized that the joy we seek isn't in some future award, but in the present moment? The Stoics knew this well. They recognized that gratitude wasn't just a nice-to-have feeling, but a key to thriving in a chaotic world. But how exactly did they practice it? And more importantly, how can we apply this wisdom to our lives today? And if you enjoy this video, go ahead and hit subscribe, because we put out new videos every single week on ancient philosophy. So first, let's talk about the Stoics' idea of inner peace. You see, the Stoics believed that the key to happiness lay within our control of our own thoughts and reactions. It doesn't matter what happens, it matters how we respond. This idea is explored beautifully in the works of Marcus Aurelius. His Meditations is a testament to this approach. Throughout this personal journal, Marcus grapples with life's challenges, finding solace in the understanding that his peace isn't dependent on external circumstances, but on his internal state. In Meditations, Marcus writes, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Now, let's pause and unpack that statement. It's tempting to think we have no control, that we're at the mercy of bosses, relationships, the economy, you name it. But Marcus here is challenging this notion. He's saying there's a wellspring of power within our minds, a power to choose our response to any situation. It's a call to arms for self-mastery, a reminder that the battlefield for peace isn't out there, it's in here. Now, let me share a story that brought this idea to life for me. Picture this. You've just landed your dream job, but 2 weeks in, things take a turn. Your boss is constantly breathing down your neck, second-guessing your every move. It feels suffocating. You're tempted to quit, to complain that you're in a toxic environment. But then you recall Marcus's words. You realize that your peace isn't in the boss's approval, but in your response. Maybe this isn't about changing the boss, but about shifting your perspective. You decide to rise to the challenge, to prove yourself. And guess what? Not only do you stay in the job, but you thrive in it. This one simple shift in perspective saved you from needless turmoil. Epictetus, another prominent Stoic philosopher, expands on this idea in his letter from a friend. He says, "When you set out to practice philosophy, you won't find it so much in books as in the character of those who are practicing it. For this reason, we ought to be more on guard against those who talk about virtue than against those who embody it." In this quote, Epictetus is highlighting the difference between talking about virtue or peace and actually embodying it in our actions. He's encouraging us to look beyond theories and instead to learn from those who embody these principles. And let's take a leaf out of Epictetus's book. Instead of just discussing gratitude and inner peace, let's see how the Stoics put these ideas into practice. So next, let's talk about the role of negative events. The Stoics weren't naive. They understood that life wasn't all sunshine and roses. Setbacks, disappointments, and failures were part of the human experience. However, their approach to these challenges was unique. They saw in every negative event a potential for growth, a chance to prove themselves and become better. One powerful example of this thinking comes from Epictetus. He was born into slavery, but he didn't let that define him. In his discourses, he shares, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This isn't about ignoring the reality of negative situations. It's about taking charge of how we respond to them. Whether it's losing a job, a relationship falling apart, or a dream project failing, we have the power to shape our response. And in that response lies the seeds of growth, and sometimes even triumph. Imagine, for instance, that you've been working tirelessly on a project, pouring your heart and soul into it. But despite your best efforts, it fails. Disappointment, frustration, maybe even anger can wash over you. But then you remember Epictetus's words. You realize that while the project didn't succeed, it's not the end of your journey, but a stepping stone. You analyze what went wrong, not to dwell on the failure, but to learn from it. You adjust your approach, refine your strategy, and set out again, wiser and more determined than before. The key is to not let the setback define you, but to rise above it and use it as fuel for your next endeavor. So now that we understand that we can't just focus on the good times, let's talk about the role of acceptance. The Stoics weren't trying to ignore the bad or pretend it didn't exist. Instead, they were calling for acceptance. They knew that pretending you're not angry or upset doesn't make it go away. It only prevents you from dealing with it. Marcus Aurelius writes in Meditations, "When you rise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." He's not ignoring the darker side of life. He's simply choosing to focus on the gift of being alive in every moment, good or bad. This isn't about being Pollyanna, it's about balance. It's about recognizing that life's tapestry is woven with both light and dark threads. And it's in the acceptance of the whole, the light and the dark, that we find true peace. Let me tell you a story that brings this to life. A farmer has his crops. One year, the weather is perfect. The crops thrive and he has a bumper harvest. But the next year, storms and pests devastate his crops. He loses almost everything. Now, a person without the Stoic mindset might think, why is life so unfair? Why did I work so hard only to lose everything? But the Stoic farmer looks at both seasons as part of the natural order. He understands that a bountiful harvest can't always be followed by a famine. But he prepares for lean times. When the good times come, he saves a portion of his harvest. So when the bad times arrive, he can rely on his reserves. He doesn't despair when he loses everything. He knows that it's just a part of the cycle, and he's prepared for it. This is the essence of acceptance. It's not about denying the bad, but embracing it as part of the whole, and preparing for it when the good times are here. So far, we've covered a lot of ground, haven't we? We talked about having power over our mind, not outside events. We saw that setbacks aren't failures, but opportunities. And we learned that acceptance is key to navigating life's ups and downs. But now, it's time to wrap up. And as we do, I want to leave you with a final thought. The Stoics weren't just philosophers, they were doers. They put their principles into action, no matter how challenging it was. They didn't just talk about peace, they embodied it. They didn't just discuss gratitude, they lived it. And you know what? Life isn't really that different. Sure, we face unique challenges in today's world, but the core of human existence, the need for peace and purpose, that's timeless. So as we bring this to a close, I encourage you to ask yourself this question. What would Marcus Aurelius say about my current goals, my actions, my reactions? Is your pursuit of success truly aligned with your values? Are your goals bringing you closer to peace or pushing you further away? I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Every week, we release a new video exploring ancient wisdom for modern life. Thanks for joining me on this journey through the timeless wisdom of the Stoics. Until next time, may your life be filled with gratitude, peace, and purpose.